That'd be absolutely devastating.
Oh! This is Joey Owens' show. They've been trying to get me on this broadcast forever, and this is the worst damn podcast I've ever been on. So you all can kiss my ass while I win this match.
All right, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to G.W.R. Gonzo'S Wrestling Room. Oh, man. Everything's calm until like the 4 minutes before the show. Everything has to blow up over here. But hope everybody having a great Monday night. I'm Chris Gonzo'S, joined by Tony Gonzo'S and by Marcus Fine, as always. How's it going, guys?
Well, great. Just laughing at you.
Me?
Yeah.
You and your phone over here.
I was trying to listen to.
Yeah, try to distract me with Terry like he did last time.
I was listening to Terry, and of course, all you could hear was a dog bark. And then my wife calls twice. So
phone ring, and of course his phone is louder now, right by the microphone.
I had the phone right here.
Oh man,
wake you up, man! Keep you awake.
I'm awake. Oh man. All right, I'll let you kind of get started so I can finish trying to get this shared.
Marcus, did you go to WCWO Friday night?
No. The other show we went to
okay.
was Saturday. Yeah, Kelly was
Saturday.
Yeah, Kelly wasn't feeling too good still Friday night, so we didn't go nowhere.
I'm not going to talk a whole lot about that because we want to air that Tuesday.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Tomorrow. What are you thinking? 8? Yeah. Going to air that to WCWO Brain of the Thunder Tuesday night at 8:00 p.m. Here on the channel, so people can check that out. It was a really good show. I really enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. Marcus got a different view of the show than he normally gets. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I finally made it behind closed doors, I guess you could say. Joey allowed me behind the curtain, and it was kind of a fun experience. The fact that Quicksilver was back there, I don't know if anybody read my post, but I seen Quicksilver when I was 16 years old on Dick the Bruiser TV, and to be in the same locker room as Quicksilver was 40 years later, kind of something I never thought would ever happen. So,
yeah, that's pretty cool. But again, it was a real good show. I think people definitely check it out Tuesday night. I think they'll enjoy it. Wasn't a bad match on the show. It was a real good show, real solid, real good.
Yeah, I thought it was a real good show.
And then, we can go into our stuff.
It's a little different sitting back there where you
don't see the ring,
or you don't see the ring. But
we did that setup WCW at Comic-Con, but we were still out where the ring was. This time we was behind stage, and you couldn't see the ring, so it was definitely different. But I enjoyed it, and I had a good time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a good time.
So we talk about our topics. We had the first one was the super cards that we talked about. You know, if you could put together matches and have your own super card. Marcus, I'll let you go first if you want.
All righty. You said 8 matches, so I did 8 matches. So I guess we'll start from the bottom up. I got my two main events, and then the others you just fit them in there however you want to.
Yep.
I had the Midnight Express taking on the Hart Foundation. Now all these are when people were in their primes, not.
Yeah.
The Midnight Express, former NWA Tag Team Champions, Hart Foundation, former WWF Tag Team Champions. Maybe at the same time. I'll have to look at the dates. So I thought that would be cool to see them too. I think this happened at one time, but Eddie Gilbert versus Ricky Steamboat. I think I've seen that on Peacock one time.
I know they tagged together.
So back before it was WWE 24/7 on demand or whatever. That was before the network took over.
Yeah.
And I think I seen that on Ricky Steamboat Week that was one of the matches, and it was early MSG, and Gilbert was young, but Gilbert was a talent that died too soon.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so then I had Terry Gordy versus Abdullah the Butcher. Them two did actually wrestle at one time in Japan. I don't think America can handle that. Now, here's two eras here. I had Andre the Giant and Stan Hansen versus the Blackjacks. So you'd have to take the 60s and the, what would you say, the 80s, 70s, 80s.
Yeah.
But the Blackjacks was a top tag team at one time. Andre and Hansen were feuding with one another at one time, but I think they also tagged with each other. I think, again, that was in Japan. But I'd like to have seen that. Now, this is a fatal four-way. Now, I don't believe in first pins. I believe in last pins. So this is a fatal four-way. Hey, Billy. Hey, Jonathan.
How's it going, guys?
Yep.
Fatal four-way. Battle of the Big Men. Jerry Blackwell versus Bam Bam Bigelow versus King Kong Bundy versus the one-man gang. So,
That'd be awesome.
who do you think would win that? I know who I'd want to win that, but who would you?
I know you was a huge Blackwell guy,
Yeah.
so I would love to see Blackwell and Bam Bam Bigelow one-on-one. That would be really awesome. Blackwell was very underrated. He was really good. He was very underrated, in my opinion.
Oh, I agree.
Well, I don't know who would win that.
Who do you think's the weaker one?
Well, Bundy didn't move like the other guys, but he was strong. One Man Gang was kind of underrated too.
Yeah,
He could move pretty good for a big guy. Well, I don't know. That'd be. I think most people might think Bigelow.
Now, do you remember was it the first Survivor Series? He beat it. He was on the opposite team that Andre was on. I think it must have been, what was it? Andre's team versus Hogan's team, the first Survivor Series.
I think so.
Well, and Bigelow pinned, I think, Gang and Bundy both before Andre got a hold of him.
I think you're right.
So I'd go with Bundy as the weakest, and then I'd want Blackwell to win it. All right, main event number one, and this is during Primes, the Road Warriors versus the Brothers of Destruction. So do you have an idea what my number one is?
I'm not sure.
Brody and Hogan.
Brody and Hogan.
King Kong Brody versus Hulk Hogan. I originally had King Kong Brody versus Undertaker, but then I thought, well, who could I put up against the Road Warriors? Oh, how about these guys? Well, I got to take Taker out of the main event then, so we'll put Hogan up there. So that is my 8. And I pretty much wrote those right off the top of my head, pretty much within a day after you come up with the idea.
Yeah, so. I did too. But I ended up going 10. I'm not going to lie.
Well, that's what I normally do. So
I'll go ahead and go with mine. I think this would be interesting. Magnum TA at his height. I mean, right where he was hitting his height as a face. I mean, a lot of people are not going to understand how big he was. He was really big. I mean, he was getting ready, and he was getting ready to get bigger. Against heel Roman Reigns.
Oh my!
I'd like to see that.
Wow, that would be good.
William Regal against somebody Chris has probably never seen. I know Marcus probably at the very least seen tape if he didn't see him during that time. Billy Robinson.
Oh yeah, Billy was part of the AWA when I first started watching it.
Yeah. I'd like to see William Regal
there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'd like to see that. Prime Undertaker against Prime Sting. Everybody's always wanted that.
And wasn't that supposed to be a WrestleMania match at one time?
At one time, it wouldn't have been Prime, but still, yeah. The next one, Road Warriors. Not that it wasn't in their prime in WWE, but I think I'd like to have them a couple years earlier against Demolition.
Yeah, I've seen them, but they always did 6-man tags.
Yep. Stone Cold against heel Roddy Piper.
Yeah, that would be good, wouldn't it?
Uh,
Yeah, it would.
NWO heel Hulk Hogan against, in his prime, selling out the Madison Square Garden, Bruno Sammartino. Rock and Roll Express against the British Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Usos against the Midnight Express. And then my two main events, Ricky Steamboat against Daniel Bryan Danielson, whatever you want to call him. And then, of course, you probably know mine, Bruiser Brody against Brock Lesnar. I want to see. I want to see.
I'm serious. I really think that'd be my pick, but I'm a Brody fan, so
yeah. But that would be my super card. Chris.
All right, I had Shawn Michaels versus Seth Rollins.
Be good.
I think that'd be a good one. Also had the Bloodline against the Hart Foundation. Kurt Angle versus Kevin Owens. Daniel Bryan versus Jake the Snake Roberts.
Ooh.
Then I had Stone Cold versus Gunther in a last man standing match.
Oh, man. Yeah, that'd be
Bret Hart versus Sami Zayn. Mick Foley and John Moxley in a hardcore.
That'd be good.
That'd be a lot of blood.
Yep.
And I had Randy Savage against MJF. And I had the Road Warriors versus Brother of Destruction, but Marcus stole them from me. So to replace that match, I put Rock and Roll Express and the Usos.
Rock and Roll Express against the New Day would be good too.
Yes, that would be good. Somebody's asking, do we think the Magnum TA looked like a prettier version of Jake the Snake? Maybe a little bit, but he really did look like Magnum TA. They were showing some pictures on that. I watched that Magnum TA Darker Side of the Ring, and they showed some pictures. They really did look alike.
And I didn't know Andre gave him the name either. That's
didn't know that
I never heard that. So
yeah, I did not know that either.
Yeah, he died. He didn't die. He had that wreck when I was in high school. I remember every magazine, all of a sudden, bang, there it was.
Yeah.
You go, when you went to the drugstore and they used to have 300 wrestling magazines,
Yep.
and every one of them had that car wreck and some version on it. Yeah, he was just like David Von Erich. He was the next world champion.
Yeah.
And David Von Erich, and he died, and Flair had to continue, and Magnum had that wreck, and Flair had to keep going.
Well, what was crazy, I did not know that he got hooked up with, which the guy was one of my favorite wrestlers, and Jim Cornette talked about him, how good of a wrestler he really was, underrated, but as a person, he was a piece of crap, was Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer. And Buzz Sawyer told Magnum TA that he would train him, told him he had to get a wrestling license, and it cost $10,000. And he took his $10,000 and flew the coop. And so
$10,000.
$10,000. It said, a wrestling license costs $25-$50, and he told him $10,000. And he had wrestled. I did not know this. He was a state champion wrestling high school. I didn't know that either. But I forget who told him, but somebody told him you need to search him out, and he got his address. And Buzz Sawyer trained him for 2 hours, and he wrestled his first match after 2 hours of training. And some promoters were there and were impressed with him and booked him immediately after just 2 hours of training. I think he went. It may have been Florida. He ended up going to. I can't remember.
I got to look somewhere because there's another person out there that tried to get trained by Buzz Sawyer, but I cannot remember.
There's quite a few
who the same thing, went to Buzz Sawyer, and he says, "All right, go do whatever." They showed up at his house, and there was a ring. He said, "I'll go." But I can't remember. I thought it was Jake the Snake, but I don't know because I would have thought Grizzly Smith would have trained him, but who knows there either. I have to go back and look. But somebody else done the same thing to him.
Yeah, Grizzly didn't train him. No, Jake. I know because I remember watching that. He didn't train him. I can't remember who it was. But yeah, he did that quite a few times. They say he was scum of the earth. That's what they said about Sawyer. But yeah, Magnum TA with very little training was already pretty good, and then got training, and then when he got hooked up with Dusty, that's where Dusty believed in him. Dusty pushed him, and he was going to be a big star.
Mm-hmm.
Well, next up we had our not so super cards, and I got mine. I'll go ahead and go first. I only did 8 on this one, and I've got my main events, but I'll go for my first one was PN News against Kazarni. No, I take that back. No, it wasn't against Kazarni. It was against no. Let me start over. PN News against Kiss Demon. That was my first match. My second match was Kazarni against Disco Inferno. My next one was The Goon versus Repo Man. My next one is Damian Domino against Oz. Next one, Isaac Yankem versus Nails. My next one, Mantar versus Shockmaster. And my 2 main events was James Ellsworth against Gilberg. And my main event was Giant Gonzalez versus the Great Khali.
Main events. That's what kills me. I didn't have a main event. Oh my goodness. And I thought mine was weird. I was going to put the Gobbledygooker in there, but I didn't do it.
I about did too.
Because I about did the Gobbledygooker and the Red Rooster because it just
Yeah.
yeah. But I did have a funny one, and I'll tell you here in a minute.
You can go ahead, Marcus.
Okay. I had the Yeti versus Zodiac. And then we kept talking about Bastion Booger and Mantine, so I thought, well, why not? Let's let them 2 wrestle each other because nobody really give a shit about it anyway. Are you ready for this? The Dicks versus the Ding Dongs.
Yep.
I had Damian Demento versus Quang. Booty Man versus the 70s guy, which would be Beefcake versus Mike Alsop if they were good states. I had Gilbert versus the Red Rooster. Outback Jack versus Skinner. Could be the Battle of the Ozarks or whatever.
Yep.
You did Isaac Yankem versus Nails. Now I had Isaac Yankem and Nails taking on the Wall and Roadblock.
That would have been good.
And if Justin Terrell was still on here, I'd say Justin Terrell versus Mike King because we've already seen that and it wasn't worth watching then. So why would we watch it again? So if he comes back on later, because if you remember, they did the finger poke at Doom that night. Didn't really even have a match, but
yep.
Well, that was rough because if you look at my paper, I went through and wrote down every crazy because I watched like 6 YouTube videos to get all these weird Lasertron. I forgot about that. TL Hooper, which was a plumber, always running around with that damn plunger.
He was the dirty white boy in Mid-South.
Yeah,
that's who that was.
DWB on there, yeah. Beaver Cleavage.
Yeah, he was originally was one of the
Headbangers.
Yep.
Yeah, I had to think. The Dynamic Dudes, Booty Man, Golfer Barry Darso, because originally it was Stuart Payne, but there was a golfer named Payne Stewart that actually died, so they changed it to Golfer Barry Darso, which I forgot about that. Because Barry
Darso. Had Chavo do that. Yeah, Chavo Guerrero do a golfer thing too. Kerwin White. I don't know if you remember.
Didn't Raven, was it Raven? Johnny Polo? No, that was a polo gimmick.
Yep, Johnny Polo, yeah.
And was that Raven?
Yep.
Yeah. But I didn't have that in Disco Inferno. Fantasio. That was the magician. Arachnaman.
Yep.
That was Brad Armstrong, but Marvel said, hey, cool it or we'll sue you.
Yeah.
And then that was some of the crazy crap that. Yeah, Marsh and Thrasher. They used to come into the area every so often for the FEW. I don't think it was FEW at the time, but it was that promoter. He used to bring one of the headbangers in all the time.
Recently, Maples has been using them some.
I guess Terry must be done. Because Kelly wanted to watch Terry to see what he said.
You never know what he's going to say.
That's true.
What is your profile picture? First, I thought you had laser drawn on there. Or Arachnaman. Is that you, Glenn, on there?
I can't tell. I can't tell who it is.
Who knows?
Chris?
I didn't do a non-super
What
card.
the hell?
I forgot.
You forgot. Okay. Well, you suck.
You know, I didn't even finish that up till this morning because I get to laughing about stuff, and it's like, man, which bad gimmick do you
I thought
go?
I was doing good. I had the super card. I
Yeah.
thought I was doing good. And then you guys start talking about non-super cards. Like, I didn't do that one. I didn't do much of nothing yesterday.
No, you didn't.
No, we haven't done nothing much for the last couple of days. So,
Right, well, I haven't done a whole lot today either, man. I slept most of the day yesterday. I was hurting.
Yep.
yeah, well, Kelly, it took her toll on her Saturday too. So, and then it got cold this morning. I mean, it is June, and
Yeah.
open the front door and close the front door back up. It's like, man, it's cold outside.
It's his Pacers Legion of Doom outfit.
I was going to say, it looked like he had spikes on.
How old's that picture? Is that actually you, Glenn? And how old
Yeah,
is that?
yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Glenn.
Pacers Legion of Doom outfit. Gotta love that. And I'm not trying to quote Dalton Love, but
He'll try to sue you. You better watch out.
is that how that guy passed away? That's the golfer that was just talking about that Barry Darso done.
Huh.
And he died, so they changed his name because it was like the opposite. Payne Stewart, and then he went by Stuart Payne. And when this guy passed away, because that was part of the YouTube video, then they changed it to golfer Barry Darso.
It is him, and it's from 2019.
Now, you need to show up to Fair Fight or something in that getup. That's pretty cool.
They might pull him in the ring. He shows up like that.
Part of the Battle Royal, because there's going to be a Battle Royal. He'd
Okay.
be in the Battle Royal wearing that and match right in.
Okay, next we had our favorite skits or top skits. Did you do that, Chris?
I think I have some.
I'm gonna let you go first.
All right. I had the Rock and Mick Foley. This is your this is your life.
Yep.
Kurt Angle with the guitar and the hat.
Yep.
That it's always going to be one of my favorite. Then also Kurt Angle when
7 o'clock.
with the milk truck,
Milk truck.
and of course Stone Cold with the beer truck. Them skits.
One of those guys ran that truck into the ring and knocked it about 6 foot.
Yeah.
All right. It is now 7 o'clock.
And then the DX, Generation X, when they do the like disclaimer ad saying you can't say these words, but we're saying every one of them.
Yep.
Yeah,
Kind of addresses the nation.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was the ones I wrote down.
Okay, Marcus, you want to go next?
Yeah, I have a bunch. Well, maybe 10. I don't know. I had Al Snow and the Big Boss Man and Pepper the dog. If you remember Al Snow, or no, Boss Man fed Pepper the dog to Al Snow. Says, you want to know where Pepper is? You need to eat this. And he's eating it. He says, you just ate pepper.
Yeah,
Says,
pepper
tastes like
face.
chicken. Speaking of Boss Man, and he also did the one where he drugged Big Show's Daddy's coffin around, right?
Yep.
With that big like Blues Brothers car or whatever with that big speaker on the top. I didn't have that on there, but I
Yep.
just remembered that. Booker T and Steve Austin in the supermarket.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's one of the most famous ones.
Oh man, and then they end up in that church and those lads got a hold of him.
Yeah.
All right, I'm surprised this didn't come up. Oh no, I didn't. That's a different one. Mark Henry dating the tranny or the drag queen. You remember that? And his mom come in there. He grabbed the guy. Oh, you're a guy. The mom grabbed a hold of him and drug him out. That was one of the Mark Henry skits. And of course, I always thought the blowaway diet was funny. He's part of the AWA Tag Team Champions. I can't think what his name was. Anyway, he poured all that powder on him, then flipped the fan on.
Oh, Playboy
Buddy Rose.
Buddy Rose?
Yeah.
Buddy Rose.
And he actually did that in the AWA and then come to the WWF and done it. Okay, it was one of the first Saturday night main events. Piper doing the trick-or-treat candy for the kids.
Yep.
And he was putting bowling balls and their candy apples and bricks, their Hershey bars, and because they were filming in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and that was like one of the first ones.
Yep.
And then Chris kind of said this, DX poking fun of the Nation of Domination. D-Lo, they kept telling the Road Dogg get up there in the corner, and they kept telling him, shut up, D-Lo.
Remember, that's when X-Pac did the blackface.
Yes.
He was supposed to put him in a fat suit, and he was supposed to be Mark Henry. They had to settle Mark Henry down. Mark Henry was going to kick their ass. He got pretty upset. Well, the reason he got moved down to Louisville, and he got moved from the main roster because he threatened to kill Shawn Michaels. He threatened he was going to kill Shawn Michaels, and they were going to fire him. But I think Jim Cornette got him moved down to Louisville with him, and he lived with Jim Cornette for 2 or 3 months and saved his career.
I've never heard that.
Oh yeah, that came straight from Mark Henry. I heard that story from him 2 or 3 times now.
Yeah, I got that on my list too. I think everybody remembers the Jimmy Crack Corn or whatever he said.
Yeah.
Bilo, that was it. Shut up, Bilo. And Triple H goes, do you smell what The Rock is cooking? It's in my pants. Yes.
Yeah.
Kurt Angle and The Rock and the milk lunch lady, where they're talking about going to go see she got these 2 big gallons of milk. I'll tell The Rock about it. Yeah. The lunch lady. And then here it is, Kurt Angle in the small hat and the singing. Mark Henry and Mae Young and the birth of the hand.
And yes. That was the weirdest one of it.
And then we're going to adult this a little bit. Val Venus and the John Wayne Bobbitt Chop the Manhood skit.
Yeah, that was with Kai and Ty.
Yeah.
Because I've got that there. Yeah, I've got it now.
Because they shut the light off and it was John Wayne Bobbitt saved Val Venus's manhood when they were going to chop it off because Val Venus was dating Ryan Shamrock, and Ryan Shamrock was one of the guys' sister or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it was his sister. Yeah, it was one of it was the manager's sister, I think. And I had it wrote down as Kai and Ty chopping down Val Venus. That's what I wrote it down as.
That's all I have.
Okay.
I'm sure I got more if I get to thinking hard enough.
I've got quite a few, and some of you guys already mentioned, but I'm gonna go through all of them. Hell with it. I had the Kurt Angle in the milk bath. I had Stone Cold in the beer bath, which was hilarious because Vince is in the ring like he's swimming. It was awesome. Steve Austin sings to Vince, and plus Kurt Angle, and that's when they break out the hat and the guitar, the Jimmy Crack corn, all that.
Oh, man.
This Is Your Life, Rock, which I watched that last night. It was pretty good. Had his high school sweetheart who wouldn't go to second base. So it was pretty funny. The debut of Mr. Sacco, which was when Vince was in the hospital, and they debuted the clown and Mr. Sacco, and Vince gets hit with the bedpan by Stone Cold, which I still see that and I still laugh my ass off every time I see it.
Didn't Mr. Sacco show up? I didn't see any video footage of that. Wasn't he at Muncie one time?
He was in Muncie. Well, no, it was Jay County. He was in
But I
Jay
haven't seen
County.
no
but
video footage of that.
we didn't get no video footage of that.
I can show you the other 3 hours of the show.
Do you guys remember this one? I had
But
forgotten.
I can't show you
about
that minute and a half.
it. You guys remember when JBL fought an inflatable Godzilla?
He did what?
He fought an inflatable Godzilla.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot about it.
I don't know. Kane and Daniel Bryan, the anger management classes.
Oh, yeah. I can't believe I forgot those. They were
Oh,
always.
there's another one I remember too. Go ahead.
Billionaire Ted. That was a shot that they was doing it. Ted Turner and stuff. They did a bunch of those. This was one that I forgot about. Is when Sean had been gone for a while, and Triple H wanted to bring back DX, and Sean was working as a short order cook. And he goes there trying to get him to come back to wrestling, and he's working as a short order cook. So you guys might check that out. It's pretty
I
fun.
might have to because I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. Either.
Yeah. Rock sings to Vicky Guerrero. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
Where it's that song, Eric Clapton's song, "You're Wonderful Tonight." It's hilarious. The crowd sings with him. It's pretty good. Of course, sexy Kurt Angle doing, and had Sherry Martel in the ring with him doing the Shawn Michaels stuff. Jake the Snake when in the ring, and really that was after a match. But he has Randy in the ropes and has a snake bite. Randy Savage, that was nuts. Jake the Snake crashes their wedding reception, and matter of fact, that's when Undertaker turned good.
Yeah.
So that was big. Undertaker locks Ultimate Warrior in a casket. That was done, I think, through a Brother Love segment, if I remember correct. I had the Kai and Tai chopping down Val Venus, which I mentioned, and one that Chris had, DX addressing the nation and saying all the dirty words and all that stuff. So that's what I had down.
None of us had when Michaels put beefcake through the barbershop.
No, not Marty Jannetty.
Or Jannetty, I mean, I don't know why I said beefcake.
It was on Beefcake
I meant
show.
Jannetty. Yeah.
Well, and then I remembered when Kane had the DNA test with Paul Bearer to prove he was his son.
Yep.
Kane just sitting there with his arm out, and Paul Bearer's doing this, and
The APA had some good skits too.
Yeah, back in the back. Well, I watched the one last night where The Rock is talking to Hogan in the back, and here comes. He says, I got a good partner for us in the six man tonight, and he's talking about Kane. Well, Kane comes in and does his Rock impression, and he does his Hulk Hogan impression, and he's mixing them together and stuff. That's pretty funny. It's pretty good. The crowd was really into it, so that was good.
Kane was I don't know, Kane was funny. I don't think people realize how funny he was because he was Kane all the time. But when they let him do some of the comedy stuff, he was good.
Yeah. There's been so many great you could probably ask 20 different people and they'd come up with 10 different skits because there's been so many good ones. I mean, the Horsemen had some good ones. The NWO had some good ones. They had some that I thought was cruel too. That one when NWO Bischoff fires the dude that's got cancer.
Yeah.
Brought his
family out there.
He really did have cancer. I don't think he really fired him, but he really did have cancer. And Corporate Kane, yep.
Yeah, because when they done that, people were calling TNT going crazy.
Yeah, they actually called the network and was going crazy because he did that. Fired him on air.
You remember when Mick Foley was the commissioner and he had that desk sitting outside the men's room or somewhere? He had that cactus. And he went, oh,
Yeah.
one prick, oh, two pricks. And then here come Christian and Edge. Oh, I was just talking about you guys.
Yeah.
And you
Oh,
remember when
that's-
Mick Foley made Christian wear that chicken suit so he could become the cruiserweight title?
Well, Edge and Christian doing the poses and stuff, getting in the ring and
Oh,
doing
yeah,
the flash,
5 second film photo opportunities.
the flash photography. Yeah. So that them were funny. There was a lot of great ones, most definitely.
You okay?
Well, you had who was it? Edge and Lita.
Yep. The sex celebration.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Ooh,
crazy. Yeah, that was crazy.
That was something else.
People would go nuts if they try to do something like that
Well,
nowadays.
that's what I'm saying. Some of the stuff that they just can do now.
Well, the Katie Vick thing was really bad too. I didn't bring that up because
Yeah.
that wasn't a good skit, but they were
No.
lucky more of that didn't come about.
Well, the one thing that came up, I watched the Chris Candido and
Sonny.
Sonny thing, Darker Side of the Ring last night, and I'd forgot about that. I don't think I actually seen it. It was when they were both pretty bad on stuff, and I was working for ECW, and Heyman did interviews with him and had him tell about all the stuff they did and stuff. And I know Cornette was still upset about it. He said, I can't believe Heyman did that, and he's still upset about it. And actually, I was shocked. Let's see the guys' names. Of course, he worked with Candido in ECW. Real good wrestler. Chris, maybe Marcus probably have to help me with the name. Oh, and Storm.
Okay.
I mean, he was very upset. In tears. So was Dr. Tom Pritchard, Cornette. I mean, they're still upset that this guy lost his life. And the thing of it is, he lost his life. He broke his ankle, had surgery, and I guess you're not supposed to fly after you have surgery. Well, he flew and got blood clots and went to his lung and killed him.
Yeah, if you go on YouTube, I think it's on YouTube. There's a few of them. You got to pick them depending on who's in the room. With Sonny on there, and she talks about that if he hadn't flown, he'd probably still be alive today.
Yeah.
But if you Google or if you go on YouTube and say Sonny shoot interviews, be careful what you get because remember what else Sonny has done, and
Yes.
you'll get the one where she talks about and.
Yeah,
So you gotta be careful with what you pick up. But yeah, if he never got on that plane, he would have lived. He'd still be around probably.
And he was. They said he had turned his life around. He got off the drugs and he was working in TNA. And it was just a freak accident. He went to the referee, got kind of his way, so he tried to sidestep the ref and broke his ankle.
I guess Sonny was getting a lot of hate after that thing that came out.
Yeah, she's got some real issues.
Marty Jannetty, because Marty Jannetty posted a big thing kind of defending her.
Well, he's got a lot of issues too.
Oh, no.
But, yeah,
I was surprised to see Chris's mom on there because if you watch this Sonny one I'm talking about, she talks about how when Chris died, they all show up at the funeral home and the mom and dad says no, she cannot say what's happening because they weren't married, even though they've been together since they were kids.
Yeah.
She had absolutely no say in that funeral at all.
Yeah.
So the mom was a real bitch, but then after you listen to the story, then it makes you wonder, well, did the mom have the right to be the way she was? If that's the way they were, it's like
it was a real tough situation because they were both addicts and they were both terrible at the time. And Sonny's never cleaned up. She still thinks, hey, I'm in jail. I made a mistake. She killed somebody here recently. I don't know, a year or two ago. She killed somebody. She thinks, hey, people make mistakes. I made a mistake. I should be let out of jail.
15th mistake. Yeah. I mean,
well, she didn't have a driver's license. She didn't have a license. She's not supposed to be driving. Probably never would get a license again. And she killed somebody drunk. So yeah, just terrible situation. Well, the next thing I had brought up, the Iron Sheik passed away this past week, and get you guys' thoughts on Iron Sheik. I mentioned to Marcus over the weekend, where would the Sheik rank as far as the top heels go? And I'll tell you what, man, when you really look back, man, I think he's really up there.
Yeah, he's in the top 10. I wouldn't say the top 5, but then again, Piper's probably going to be your top for me. But
yeah,
and well, currently Roman Reigns, but Piper and Roman Reigns were 2 different type of heels. So,
Son of a bitch.
I'm afraid. Yes, I told you, you got to be careful with Yeah, there's like 4 or 5 different setting shoots. You've got to be careful which one you pick, depending on who's in the room with you while you're watching it. So yeah, because if you want that story, Dolph Ziggler wanted to screw her so bad that he drove 2 hours with a concussion to get to her to do that.
the Sheik. Yeah, I think Piper's number 1, but who else would you have on the list as the
Well,
top heels, you think? It's tough.
yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Flair. Well, the 4 Horsemen.
Flair.
The whole
Jake the Snake could be up
Jake
there.
the Snake. Man.
Savage was awful good heel.
Well, I'm gonna have to take hard on that one. There's been so many of them over the years.
The reason that I think the Sheik is up there, definitely, like you said, top 10. Maybe could break the top 5. I don't know. When you stop and think about what he did, he beat Backlund, the 5-year reign.
Yeah, I just watched that before we went on.
Yep, help. He helped make Hogan. I mean, he was a great heel for Hogan to beat. I don't know if there would have been a better heel for him to beat at that time. And then he went on and feuded with Slaughter. He had the tag team with Volkov. He was teamed with Slaughter. I mean, he had a very long career of being the heel. And it was a perfect time. His timing worked out real good for him too. I mean, and also the Vince loved him. I mean, they said Vince always gave him many chances, even though he had drug problems and stuff. He always had a soft spot for Iron Sheik. And they said one reason was that the Vern Gagne story, when Vern offered money for Sheik to break Hogan's ankle, because Sheik said he didn't want to lose to Hogan because he didn't feel like Hogan could really beat him.
He's a jabroni.
he felt like Bob Backlund was credible. There was other people that were credible. He didn't feel like Hulk Hogan was credible as far as, in the ring. And so he really didn't. I mean, he did it, but he wasn't crazy about it.
Well, and
how much could that have changed the whole wrestling business if he would have broke Hogan's leg and not dropped the title?
It would have changed everything.
Yeah, it would, because who'd be the one to take it?
Everybody talks about who would have been if you didn't have Hogan. Like there's been rumors, Snuka. I agree with Marcus. I don't think Snuka would have been the answer.
You have to see that right now. Maybe back then, but
yeah, Snuka was popular back then, but he was getting older too. I don't know, and he couldn't. He's always had to have managers with him. He really wasn't a great talker. People talked about Tony Atlas. I don't know. I think that'd have been much for Tony Atlas as far, again, his look and everything. And in the ring, he was okay, but I don't think he could have done it. I think maybe could have Piper done it with the right
you'd have to turn Piper. You'd have to get somebody to take it off the Sheik to put it on Piper, because Piper was better as a heel.
Well, but could you have turned Piper to go after the Sheik?
No, you'd have to have somebody take the belt off of Sheik. A
face.
Well,
I'm talking about Piper being a face.
No. I can't see that. I could not see. Piper was better to hold the title. Piper had to be a heel, I think, to make it work.
You might be right. Piper was the best heel, but he was a good face. But I don't know if he could have took it to the next level or not.
I don't see it. Not as a face. And see, Bob Backlund or Sheik was a good one to take it off Backlund, because they used that neck injury. And what better way to hurt Bob Backlund than put him in that camel clutch? Yeah,
but you had to have somebody with a big personality. Again, like I said, I don't think Piper had the personality, but like I said, it was better as a heel.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Although I guess Piper could have taken it off of Backlund, but then you have the problem with Hogan was the next one in line. So you'd have to think if Sheik broke Hogan's leg, who would take it off of yeah. Because then they'd have to come up with a game plan and okay, now who are we going to take it off the Sheik? So that's possible. Maybe as the transition champion that could have worked. Orndorff.
I don't know if Orndorff. Orndorff could have been a champion. I don't know. I don't think he was a face champion though.
No, but he could have been face long enough to take the belt off of the. They could have played a storyline there though, turn him face long enough, and then have him go with Piper after he took it, and they could have used the storyline as, "Oh, I was really against. This is the only way we could get it to Piper." I don't know. I mean, see, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, I don't know. It would definitely would have changed. Right? Do you think that if that don't happen, that changes Vince's plan? Do you think then? I don't know if they had the plan. If Turner and them, well, it wasn't Turner, it was Crockett's. I don't know if they had the financial knowledge because they went broke. I don't know if they could have went national and been that people that went national instead of Vince.
See, it's hard to tell that because that's been 40 years ago now.
Yeah.
And we know how it came out. We don't to change it 40 years later. It's hard to tell how that would go.
Yeah,
it is. It's just hard to tell if she could broke Hogan's ankle, what would have happened.
Yeah,
$100,000 back then was a lot of money too.
Oh yeah. Well, see, in Vern Gagne's head, he thinks that if Hogan don't leave, that he would have went national.
No,
I think Vern was too caught up in his ways to you was going to have to get. I mean, you was going to have to do flashy stuff and have big personalities to go national, and that's what Vince had. I don't think Vern had that. I don't think Vern would want to do it.
No, he was too old school to be playing that game, as he would put it.
See, I think as far as in the background, NWA had Dusty. If they had the right, could Magnum TA been the guy?
If Magnum TA, yes, I think he could have been. Especially after I just seen Dark Side of the Ring, because, like I said, I was still in high school when that happened, so I wasn't into the business that far yet. But I think Magnum TA probably could have taken it to that level. Yes.
Dr. D. David Schultz.
Well, I was thinking Kim Patera also at one time. Because he was an Intercontinental title holder and he was mean as hell. And
he was mean as hell, but I think he was nuts. I don't think he could have. Again, he got in a lot of trouble. Have you seen when I was watching promos and I watched the one that talked about Mean Gene?
Are you gonna bring up San Francisco?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one where Bobby Heenan comes out. And he starts talking about Patera, and I'm gonna repeat it. It's out there on YouTube. Yeah. He said, "Yeah, he raped 9 people." Talk about Patera, so he raped, and I'm like, "What? What is he saying?"
Yeah, it just went up again. Yeah, he had 8. Yep.
Well, see, him and Saito, I think it was a Wendy's they went to, and they wouldn't serve him, and they got pissed off, and they threw a brick through the drive-through window, and then they called in the state police, and Patera and Saito beat the hell out of the state police, and I know, I'm not sure Saito, but I know Kim Patera spent time in jail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because when he come back, it was, "What's up, Justin?"
How's it going, Justin?
I know when he came back, then he kept Bobby Heenan did the jailbird situation, and that's when you remember when Patera put the belt around his neck and swung him and swung Heenan, and then Heenan was in that neck brace forever.
I mean, Junkyard Dog was real popular, but I don't know if he could have been the guy. It would be interesting if we had a time machine.
Well, I wonder then if Sergeant Slaughter as a face would have taken it off of Sheik.
Yeah,
he might have been able to pull it off. He might have, because of the situation.
Especially with using the USA versus the Iran storyline.
He might have pulled it off for a while.
Yep. And he got hooked up with G.I. Joe.
Because even when they were doing that storyline, there was times that they were main eventing Sheik was still in the main event, even though it wasn't for the title.
Yep. Yeah, actually, NWA had more guys probably at that time that could have went national than what that probably the one what WWE had or
Yeah.
WWF. I think I thought Lex Luger had the look and could have replaced Hogan when they tried that, but his problem was he wasn't realistic. He didn't feel that way. He wasn't an All-American. He was the opposite of that. He didn't want to deal with people. He hated doing it. He hated it. So I mean, if you hate what you're doing, it's going to show. And I think it did, and I think that's why it didn't take off.
Well, have you seen the cage match with him and Bruiser Brody, where he just had
I
him
heard about it.
playing the game and he got up and left?
Yep.
Because he took his ball and ran. I don't think Luger had been trusted as a world champion. Hence why he never really ever had it. So,
I mean, because I remember when they did that spot where he shows up on a helicopter and he comes out and he slams Yokozuna. He was hot, but they couldn't.
Because I don't think they figured he couldn't do it.
I don't think he was.
I think they were thinking that's what they were going to do with it. But I think
that's what they wanted.
Yeah,
but
he can't do
it. He didn't like doing the interviews. He didn't like doing the radio shows. He hated it. He wasn't a pro wrestler. He was a football player who became a pro wrestler.
The Lex Express.
Yep.
Drove that bus around and that's what proved why they didn't do it. Because if you can't present the product to the public, then you can't be the champ, because you've got to be able to do that.
Well, that's why John Cena was so good, the way he presented the WWE product. And now, I mean, I know he's not winning a bunch of matches or anything, but a guy presents the product great for WWE now is The Miz.
Mm-hmm.
The Miz is a great representative for WWE. But yeah, I mean, the Sheik, he beat Backlund, had that fantastic, which we've talked about, the boot camp match with Sergeant Slaughter.
Mm-hmm.
He teamed with Slaughter. He teamed with Volkov, had tag team champions with Volkov for quite a while. I think they won the belt at the WrestleMania. They beat
the Bulldogs, or the Bulldogs beat them.
I thought they
beat in WrestleMania 1. They beat the U.S. Express.
Yeah, Wyndham and Rotundo.
And then the next year they lost them to the Bulldogs, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And then didn't the U.S. Express take them back off the Bulldog or off the? Man, I'm trying to think how that worked.
I remember.
I'm going to go back and look at that.
I think Wyndham had the look, but evidently he didn't have the personality to be a bigger star, evidently. I think he had it in the ring.
He went on to be the NWA champion, but that was after the NWA and WCW split.
Yeah. I think he had it in the ring. I've seen some great matches with him and Steamboat, and great matches with him and Flair, 60-minute matches. He could go, but I don't know if he had the personality. Well, the topic I was thinking about for next week was our super cards for independent wrestling. Matches we would like to see. 8, 10, 12 matches. How many matches you guys want to do?
What else we want to talk about?
I don't know. You got anything?
Glenn? Justin, you got anything? Billy? Whoever else?
I'll try to come up with some questions too, but we can use another topic too.
Yeah, Wyndham was good.
Yep. Very good.
What do you want us to talk about next week, Justin? Yeah, and we probably better just do. We won't do matches we don't want to see, because that could really that could rub some.
Yeah, Don't worry about being people the wrong way. I could piss off some people. I could.
It could. It would.
I could piss off some wrestling organizations, especially one.
Yeah.
We'll do the super cards for independence. I'll come up with some questions we can do, and let me think here.
We can do Saturday night main event moments.
Yeah, let's do our favorite Saturday main event matches and moments and stuff.
Right. Yeah, because they knew how to tell stories on those.
Yeah,
From one to the next to the next to the next. They were the Paul Orndorff, Hogan, both hitting the floor at the same time.
Yep.
See, I can start
Oh,
now.
yeah.
I better not.
I just watched that.
Took them like, what, 30 minutes to get those feet to hit the floor right on camera
Probably.
before they could represent it to us. All right, that'll work. Yeah, we can do that.
And then I had an idea for the next week. We'll be almost about 6 months in. Maybe like we'll talk just a night all about independent wrestling and matches you've seen and moments you've seen, the shows you've been to, shows we've been to, because we've been about the 6 month mark, and just talk about independence.
And that'll be the week after next. That'll work.
Yep.
Going into the Don Bash Memorial Week, so that'll work too. Yeah, it's coming up on a year since I've done the interview with you guys. Me and Chris was talking about that Saturday, because that was going on the end of June.
Yep.
Do we want to do that one, or we want to wait a few weeks?
On what?
Tragic deaths in wrestling.
Won't we wait until get into July?
Okay. All right. We'll put that. I think we did tag teams a few weeks ago.
Yeah, we did some tag team stuff.
We didn't go deep into it though, but
no.
Anything else?
No, I think I'm good to go.
All right. We appreciate everybody watching. Please hit that subscribe button on YouTube at Gonzo Sports Room. Like and follow on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, all at Gonzo Sports Room as well. Also, don't forget tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, we'll be airing bringing WCWO Bringing the Thunder. It took place Saturday night there in Lebanon, Indiana. It was a great show. Come check it out tomorrow night, 8 o'clock at Gonzo Sports Room on YouTube and Twitch. This Saturday got the Juneteenth show here in Muncie, Indiana for WCWO and DCCW.
Yep. I thought you were going to say WO.
That's what I should have said, but I didn't think
WCWO.
Was it WCWO North?
Yep.
But it should be another great show. It's a free show. They have food up there, all kinds of different things. So come check it out.
Since I know we got some wrestlers on here watching, we can go ahead and plug that they are having that Saturday, if I remember correctly, from 2 to 4. They're having like a seminar tryout thing with Al Snow.
That's not till Jay County.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I'd say this week. I meant Jay County. Excuse me.
Okay.
I didn't mean it would be this weekend. It's coming up Monday. I was going to say January, July the 10th. It's a Monday, and I believe like 2 to 4 that day. They're going to be doing that seminar and tryout type thing with Al Snow. Cost that's $40. You can get with Delaware County Championship Wrestling or Jared Bird about information about that and cost. And I think it's $40, but and to pay and stuff. So I know that's going on. And then I also know they've added Jimmy Hart to that show. He's going to be in house, and I seen his autograph's not too bad, Marcus. I was kind of surprised.
I already have one.
Yeah.
That I got directly.
Yeah, I know.
It's actually.
I thought it was going to be more. I thought about 25 and 40 combo. That's not too bad,
No, not at all.
you know, compared to some of the people out there. So
Yeah. Some of them be $60 just for one.
yeah,
Friday night, the Micro Wrestling Federation will be in Kokomo. So I will be in Kokomo Friday night with my people, my buddies from Pigeon Forge. 8 o'clock over at the Elite Convention Center or something like that. If you go to microwrestling.com, you can get the info on that. But that's where I'll be Friday.
cool.
And then Saturday I'll be with you guys. Sunday's Father's Day.
Yes, it is.
All right.
Everybody have a good night, and
We'll be back on Monday for another episode. Like I said, not 100% sure if we'll be live Saturday yet. Got to figure out the internet situation. Being at the park, got to see if we can get it or not. And then other than that, if we're not live, then we'll air it probably. I don't know. I'll put out a thing about it. We'll air it a day or two after. But like I said, join us tomorrow night, 8 o'clock for WCWO from Lebanon. And we appreciate everybody watching. Please hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys next week.
That'd be absolutely devastating.
This is Joey Owens' show. They've been trying to get me on this broadcast forever, and this is the worst damn broadcast I've ever been on. So you all can kiss my ass while I win this match.